So this is just going to be a replay of Tuesday, June 16th, to just show you a little bit of what I'm trying to do. Start with my hourly chart. You can see this is very sporadic here because we're on the new contract. The volume didn't really pick up here until Friday, which is the first time we started trading this contract. You can see some lows here that price hasn't been able to penetrate, so that's interesting. Moving to the 5-minute, I've already marked in my important levels. My green lines are my previous day high-low, so there's that one there. Now let me actually add in my previous day low here at 86. My overnight levels here are my blue lines. So I've got the overnight low here, overnight high here, and I've got the replay pause just before the open. The other thing I notice that's interesting, which did come into play, I didn't really notice it until it was too late, and it was essentially this level of support here that happened overnight. You could see that price wasn't able to penetrate here again, dropped through, but when it came back up it rejected there. So this 17 level might not be interesting, who knows. Same thing with this level down here. It also looks a bit interesting to me. We just have to wait to see essentially what happens there, but I'll take that off my chart because I didn't have it going into today. The other thing I also have open is a chart with just the New York trading hours. Yesterday we had that huge gap down from the close on Friday, which initially we didn't fill. Eventually we did move up throughout the day. Going into today, this is where price is right now, just right before the open, and as you can see there really isn't much of a gap to work with. The other thing I thought was interesting, just looking at this chart, because a lot of the overnight levels are not on this chart, is we've got this high here at about 31, where price hasn't been able to penetrate a couple times. So let's just be on the lookout to see if that's going to be anything interesting. So going into the day, I would have this 5-minute chart on a separate monitor, but I'll just leave it here so that way it's in the video if I ever need to refer to it. Then I've got the 1 minute on the left, the 5-second on the right, and I just basically watch both of them. I'm going to mark in the opening, which I like to do on the 5-minute here. Of course, I don't know where price will open yet, so just as it opens, I'm just going to move that little O over where the opening is. Okay, and here we go. I'm going to hit play. Just to get an idea of where time is here, we are at 10 seconds before the open. We're definitely moving up from the overnight low. We're fairly close to the overnight high, so let's see what happens. And here we go. So we're moving here. I'm going to pause it just so that way I can put in my opening level here, which is where it opened for me. Also keep in mind that this data has not been reloaded, and I do notice that often I am off by a few ticks, which is just, I guess, the way it happens. So right off the bat, I can see looks like we've got this little resistance level that we're not able to go past. So let's see what happens if we climb up there again. And I'll also show you a little bit of what I actually did today. You know, I don't want to make this sound like, oh, I'm going to put on perfect trades because, because I already know what happened. So I'm going to be, authentic with what I was thinking at the time. So we're coming back up to here. I'm thinking this is firm resistance level. We seem to bounce off again. You know what? I'm going to take it. Let's take the short, see what happens. 3-point stop puts me just above. I could probably even move it just a little higher to clear. I'm expecting maybe we'll drop down. Clearly we don't. I'm stopped out of 3 points right there. Okay, no problem. I believe right about here is where I just said, okay, forget it. We're definitely going to buy. We're going to go higher, so let's try and buy now. Let's see what happens there. Now I'm going to pause this for 1 second because I want to show something interesting. Price stopped here at 17. When I move back up to my 5-minute chart that I was talking about before, and I look at where roughly 17 is here, it is that line that I pointed out before, which was first support, then resistance. Now we seem to have bounced off there. I didn't see this in real time. It's something that I just saw going over the chart after. I don't know if it's something I could place a trade off of. It wasn't exactly a nice range, so to speak. Um, but it stands out for me now that I see what happened. So I was in this long. I don't think I even got in as soon as this. I think I got up a little higher, but this just shocked me. That drop down. I'm like, where did that come from? We still haven't cleared the low at the opening, but right about there, after that drop, now made me think, okay, this isn't looking good. Let's look to exit. I move my profit target down. Let's just lock in some profit. Hopefully it doesn't, drop some more, because we might not even reach the overnight high as I have here at 28. So obviously here I'm thinking, oh man, this is going to be another 3-point stop. This isn't looking good. And so let's just see what happens. I am, of course, always looking at my 1-minute chart as well, but there isn't much to go on right now. We're like a minute or two into the open, so the 1-minute bars aren't really telling me much. And obviously this is where for the first few minutes after open price was just sort of going back and forth in this tight range. So I got out of my trade for a tiny little profit. I was happy about that, but notice once again we rejected this high here. And so now I'm just basically tracking this low here and this high here. I, at the moment, really have no idea which way price is going to go. We are still sort of holding above the open. If I even wanted to, I could say that, we're kind of only retraced 50% of the way down from this down move to up here. So that's always nice. If I was looking for longs, right about here would be a good place, thinking that if we break through this low here, then that puts the long in jeopardy. Likewise, if I'm looking for shorts, we've already bounced twice off of up here, so that would be a good place to take a short. But right now, I don't really have too much of a direction. We were stuck in this tight little range for a few minutes. But that is where I'd like to take my trades. It's not exactly what I do when I'm in the moment and money's on the line, but that's sort of what I'm looking for. Once again, a short here is looking pretty good. If I look at the 5-minute chart, even right here, we can definitely see we had some resistance right around this level here coming down. So I fully expect that a short from up here might work. My first short didn't work that I tried down here, but I didn't exactly take it at an extreme. That was the problem. So here we do drop a little bit below. If I was to draw a tiny little, what I consider a little support line there, we drop below. I used to always take the breakout or breakdown below. That never works for me because often I actually see that price jumps back up into the little range or whatever, which is exactly what happens here. So I'd almost consider this a slightly little higher low, although I know that's micro price action. But the fact is we did drop below this swing point and come right back up. And even the buying here looks like it was definitely a little on the strong side. We can't quite go past this micro resistance level back into the range. But the thing is, we're not going down. That's I guess what's interesting. Once again though, to take a short, the idea would be to take a short up here, not really taking a short once we break below here, because by that point the selling wave has already gone down 4 or 5 points. And often I always catch the move at the worst place because I'm waiting for confirmation of a trade, and if there's anything I've learned now, it's confirmation just costs money. So here we're clearly look like we're breaking above, so that's interesting. We're going to get to our overnight high here, which would have me looking for a short possibly. Sometimes price doesn't even get to that level, obviously. Sometimes it goes a little above the level, drops back down. The whole idea, I guess, is looking to see what traders do with it. I could watch time and sales. I don't know too much about that, but I suppose that's one thing that I could be doing. So here we're certainly breaking above it ever so slightly. Um, but that doesn't mean much. Often we do, penetrate. Now, if I was to just strictly trade the 1 minute bars, so to speak, without even looking at behavior, after the open, I don't really have much of a retracement. I know sometimes you can call the tops of bars if they're the same height or retracement, but if you're really gonna, let's say, take a trade 1 point above here, well, you've just had 3-4 minutes of price unable to go above. So that to me wouldn't be the cleanest entry. And the fact that we're so close to the overnight high is also not the best place to be looking for a long. Our previous day high is right about here, so that's the other thing to keep in mind. But hey, I wouldn't mind, if I'm knowing it's going to get to 37, taking a trade from 29 to 37. That would be a nice 8 points. So now obviously I'm not in a trade. I'm already down for the day with these couple of trades. And I'm thinking, where's the next trade now? We don't look like we're bouncing off this overnight level. Let me go back up here to my 5-minute chart again, compress that even more to include the previous day. We do have some definite hesitation here. That was a pretty strong move. I'm thinking, do I jump on this? I'd like to wait for a little bit of a retrace. So now I'm thinking that went up very quickly. Is the idea that it's going to fill it in? If anything, you'd almost be looking for a short. Here we are at the previous day high. So given the fact that we're at a previous day high and the fact that it just jumped up so quickly here, I'm thinking, you know what, a short would be pretty good here. So let's just see what happens. Let's short right here. Even though I realize we don't have confirmation or anything, retests obviously are the best way to go. Sometimes it never happens though, right? Price might just drop, and the more it drops, the further away you get from where you want your stop to be. That's sort of everything that is making me think going forward is where does the stop have to be, and is my entry well within having that stop on the other side of that danger point. If I want to play reversal off the previous day high, I'd like to see my stop be well above that. Clearly there it didn't happen. So the fact that we broke through should be a bit of an indication. And once again, looking at these 1-minute bars, they're all just up 1-minute bars. I'm not saying that short was the best short to take. I can't even remember if I took that one, to be honest, or what I did there this morning. But just sort of showing that, given that we're at that level and given this huge rise up, I thought it made sense that at least we'd fill that in a little bit. So here's once again the trouble with taking a breakout is we appeared to have broken above the previous day high, and if anything, now we're just dropping below. Once again, I would start to consider, okay, well, we've got this little swing point here. So if I'm looking to go long, the idea would be that I would go long right around here somewhere, because then my stop would be below this level. And if this is going to continue to be an uptrend, then what I'd like to see is that price doesn't drop below this this swing point here, which on the 1-minute chart is lost, which is why once again I like to follow my 5-second chart. It's just that I'm trying to be careful to not get sucked into micro price action and think I'm just trading the 5-second chart, because really that's crazy. I'm just looking for a good entry. So let's see what happens here. You know, if I was waiting for the retest, I guess, of this here, then let's just see how this shapes up. See, and it's pretty interesting to me how price literally bounces right off this exact same low. I mean, maybe it dipped a little below. Like I say, when I reload the data, it's always a little different. It's either tick higher or lower. But it seems pretty significant to me that somebody is watching, and enough people bought right down here to make price jump up a couple points from there. So if I took a long somewhere right around here, that would have been a pretty good long. I don't like the fact that we are at this previous day high, you know, because we're right in the middle of that level. But just based on those two things, I'm thinking, yeah, maybe that wasn't a bad long trade. Of course, now I could also start tracking what I could consider resistance here, seeing as this is where we turned the first time. Not that it is actually resistance, it's just the highest we can go for that, you know, moment. If it's an uptrend, clearly every single swing high is going to be exceeded. The other way to look at this, which is in fact what ended up happening, which is why I know, is so I say I'm looking for longs down here, but now, if anything, we can almost see that, well, we weren't even able to penetrate this previous swing high. You know, even on this 1 minute chart here, it's getting clearly obvious that we have a lower high on the 1 minute chart. So this is where I'm struggling. You know, usually we have an uptrend, obviously, so I should only be looking for longs. But typically, at important levels, I'd be looking for a reversal trade. So I don't know how to exactly put that together. Here we are at this level again. Do we think to buy one more time? You know, because it's turned twice there. Or am I thinking of playing, you know, that short like I mentioned? The worst thing, once again, to do, which I know because this is what I've done over and over and over again, would be to take a short right about, you know, let's say at about 33. If price gets that low, I'm thinking, okay, we finally broke that level. Let's take that short at 33. You know, if I just mark it in here, like let's just say I decide to go short right around there, and that'll be the worst place to take a short, because essentially we've already dropped from 38 down to 33, so we've already gone down 5 points. You know, even if a down move is solid, it's the worst place to get in. You know, the short really should have happened somewhere close to the top here. With our inability to penetrate this previous high, it's just that when we're right here, I'm thinking, oh, I'm missing the long from here. So I've got to get my my thought process better aligned. It's always easy, obviously, when you look at the chart at the end of the day, but in real time, I got too much going on. So here, obviously, if I took a short right about there, I think, okay, this is good. You know, I can even make a case for drawing, you know, low line connecting these. And we'll see what happens here. But I do believe it goes back up again. So, you know, even if I took a short here, which I didn't, but if I did, you know, just on the, you know, thinking that, okay, we're going down, it's the worst place to take a short, because taking a short right down here, I would still want my stop to be above these highs. You know, but that is now 6, 7, 8 point stop, which, you know, I'm not going to take, even though taking a couple dumb trades ends up losing me 6 or 7 points anyway. So sometimes it's maybe best to focus just on one good trade, give it a bit more room, and that might work out better in the end. So yeah, so here's the thing. So now I'm thinking, okay, well, you know, we went back up above this little level here, so that's interesting. But of course, we still need to clear this high if we could say we still have an uptrend of higher highs and higher lows. And even once again on the 1 minute chart, we can see we definitely have some lower highs now. I'm not saying it can't break, because often that's what will happen. We will have this sort of pattern of this like descending triangle with the support level, and then it bounces off and boom, and then it breaks through everything. But I guess really, trading isn't about being right. It's about just placing the trades in the best possible spot, so that way you're taking on a little bit of the smallest amount of risk, and you're in what could be a trade that goes in the direction that you anticipate. I guess that's really all there is to it. And sure enough, as you can see, we are dropping below. So now let me speed this up just a little bit, because I do believe from here on in we started dropping pretty good. I'm gonna compress this a little bit more, just so we get everything in view here. Because one of the other things I also always look at is sort of like the opening high and low. When we started here, I considered this the opening high. Price bounced off the opening high here, which is what made me take the short. But we still have this low point here. So if I draw that there, and sure enough, and I did get into a short somewhere up here. I can't exactly remember where. So I was in it. It's just that price did go against me, and I got out for 1 or 2 ticks profit because I was just happy to get out. And I completely missed this entire down move. I didn't get in where I wanted to. I didn't get in close to these highs. I got in maybe somewhere around here, and then so with price going against me, it it spooked me, and I was happy just to get out without another loss. Clearly, if I do a lot more replay and a lot more sim trading, that will train me properly. As price is coming down now, we can kind of see that this level here, if we extend this resistance level, because we had quite a bit of trouble getting past it, our traders may be not going to want to go into this range again. Because this definitely was a nice tight little range, and sure enough, I think that's what ended up happening. We spiked down a little bit here, and up we went. Not sure if that's exactly the reason, but just being aware of that, combined with knowing what you're looking for in terms of the price movement, watching the right tick move up and down, that could be enough to make you take a long. Even right here, sometimes I would notice this little support level forming, possibly a dip down below, come back up, when we take off. So but that is micro price action, and it is in the middle of all this stuff. That's the problem. If I just stick to the extremes, I think I'll end up doing much better. Now, of course, if we speed this up even more, we made an attempt to go higher, and it never did end up materializing. But taking trades anywhere in here is just, I know it's risky. I know I shouldn't do it. But obviously I've done it many times. All I'm really waiting for now is the drop down. Which does eventually happen, but I mean, anything around here, I would have absolutely no idea what to do with. That's where the scalpers are doing their thing. I might watch this swing low here, which we break through. Here, let me just pause that a little bit here, especially if it's something I can see on the 5-minute chart. So this little swing low I could see. So if I would consider drawing a line, there, which was once again that level I was talking about before, tiniest bit of hesitation here, nothing I would even consider, or should consider, hopefully. Who knows what I would actually do in real time. It's possibly not a bad place to look for long. I think it's very possible that at that swing level, price might reverse and go back up again. But there's certainly no indication, I think, of that happening. So let me just get rid of that. And then price comes nicely down. And even as we hesitated right around here, I'm thinking, okay, is that low enough? I mean, maybe this will be a higher low. Maybe, I see this bit of hesitation. Let's just try for a long here. So if I tried for a long at about 44.20, I still know that my stop at least has to be below this swing low that I'm kind of watching here. So it has to be below 17, but that's now a 4-point stop, which I consider pretty large. We bounced off, beautifully. But if anything, the idea is to look for a retest. So price starts coming back up. There really is no retest. It didn't come back down to 17, 18 again and bounce off again. It just bounced off and kept going. If I was, let's say, trading the 1-minute bars, if I had this support level here, I might think, okay, let's buy above the bar, which maybe gets me in at 23. But the rejection happened at 17. So 23 is now 6 points higher, which is why, once again, I am watching the lower time frame. I mean, it's true that everything happens on the 1 minute. It's not that it doesn't, but I certainly can't keep track and follow it too well because I'll forget what happened. Whereas seeing it on the 5-second chart, at least I'm hopefully training myself better what I need to see. Anyway, that's essentially it. That's what I look at. It worked beautifully today. Some of those things I was able to point out, I couldn't take nearly as well advantage of it as I would have liked to. But I'd like to think that there really is something there, and as long as you apply it every single time the same way, I do think there absolutely is a hugely statistical edge there. Anyway, thanks for watching.